Hi everyone, so my name is Shea Davis and today I'm going to be talking about House Bill 176. So House Bill 176 was introduced this legislative session by Representative Grief. It is a bill working to eliminate same-day voter registration in the state of Montana and push the due date back to register to vote to noon the day before an election. So to talk about this bill, I met with Carl Anderson of Montpurg. Montpurg is the Montana Public Interest Research Group. It is a student-led, nonpartisan, nonprofit group that works to promote environmental protection, consumer rights, voting rights, and education for all. So once they heard of House Bill 176, Carl Anderson and Montpurg went to advocate against it as they view it as an infringement on the Montana voter rights. So here to talk about that, I met with Carl Anderson.
All right, so perfect. Now that we got the introduction in, do you want to just describe kind of like what is happening with the bill, like what their goal is, how it's going along, just like what is happening, like the root cause of it?
Yeah, I mean, what's happening right now is, I believe it's scheduled for another hearing, or wait, was it? I think it had a hearing just this morning, and it was concurred. It has been moved forward, I believe, by state admin, Senate state admin. It's looking generally like most of these voting rights bills are anti-voting access bills, I guess would be more accurate, are going to be moving through pretty smoothly through the legislature because it's a very one-sided legislature currently, and there's not a lot of bipartisanship happening right now in the state legislature.
Uh-huh.
So with very few changes made to the original bill, this one as well as a couple of others are probably well on their way to passing through both the House and Senate. I guess I need a little clarification. You mean what was the very last thing you asked was like where it came from or how it, or the reasons behind it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that's relevant, like why do you and like Montpurg know like why this was brought to light, like what the intention of this was?
So they had an elections administrator. I cannot remember from where right now.
That's okay.
But they had an elections administrator come forward and say, they testified in one of the first committee hearings that this would help out their offices by just alleviating some of the burden that they have on election day.
Uh-huh.
This election administrator claimed that they were, they're already busy enough handling all of the ballots coming in, that they don't need the added stress of registering people to vote and then allowing them to vote all on the same day. So the purpose of it, the stated purpose of the bill, is to just alleviate the burden of election administrators.
Okay.
However, later in that same committee hearing, an election administrator from another county came forward and said that actually this will not make things easier for us. On election day, the entire building is typically dedicated to elections, and all of the extra staff that they have that day is just for that purpose. So when they are going to be forcing a bunch of people to get their registration in, say that this causes some burst of people getting into the courthouse to register before noon the day before, they still have just their office and their office folks working in that situation, and that will actually create a greater burden on them than it would to be able to have the full day with extra dedicated volunteers and staff to be able to process these types of things. So again, that is the stated intent of the bill.
Well, so could you explain why Montpurg is in opposition to it?
I think it was, and again, I apologize. I don't know if I'll have the exact numbers on this, but I believe it was something like 3,000 people in 2018 utilized same-day voter registration in Gallatin county, or that might have been the state.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not quote me on that, but that's 3,000 people that might not have otherwise been able to have their voice be heard.
Yeah.
And Montpurg is all about just increasing access and making, in whatever avenue we possibly can, making sure that people can have their voices heard, that they get to cast ballots and have a say in the way that this state is governed. So that's why I'd say we are in opposition to this bill, because that many voters may not have been able to be voters in the 2020 elections if they had not been able to do same-day voter registration. So.
Yeah, it's a good reason. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just kind of asking like, I might stray away from these questions a little bit, because with Montpurg's stance on wanting to give as many people the possibility to vote, I remember I listened to a committee meeting where a representative from a reservation came and said, a lot of the times they don't have the resources or aren't given the information, so having as many days as possible or as many chances as possible to get out and register or get out and vote is the better. And I'm not sure how much that swayed the vote, probably not a lot, but I remember those were arguments that were made in committee too. And yeah, I wrote it down too. There was like, in 2014, I think they had a little less than 60% of Montanans wanted same-day voter registration. So why do you think that, I guess in Montpurg's stance, like why do you think that the Montana Congress is moving to promote a bill that the majority of Montanans don't really want? Like, I guess that's not a very clear question.
No, I understand. I'm just gonna backtrack just a little bit.
Sure.
As you brought up the reservations and things like that. It also does. That is a problem that another reason that we support it or are in opposition to this particular thing, support voting rights. Is there's a lot of I would say the more impoverished communities and also the tribal communities throughout the state. These are hardworking folks that maybe they haven't been able to have the time, and maybe election day is like the very first day that they have had off with the right hour. I mean, they don't have 9 to 5 off Monday through Friday when the elections offices are open to be able to do these sorts of things. So that's just another thing to address in terms of why it's important that we allow this to continue to be a service that is offered.
All right, perfect. I just have maybe 1 or 2 left, and then I'll let you go. But I just wanted to ask, the bill is looking like it's probably going to pass at the moment. So I just want to ask what that means for you guys at Montpurg if it passes. Like what kind of, I guess it's still pretty early, but what that would mean for you guys to have to work harder for voter to get people registered.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, we'd have to work harder. And just, have to make sure that people are aware. We do our very best all the time to make sure that all of the information is out there. So, I think just making sure that folks know that as much as we don't like this is how things are working. So we would just have to make sure and educate people as heavily and as best we possibly can about when and hopefully be able to provide them with the right opportunities. I mean, we do offer lots of things. If we're able to do our door canvassing again, we'll be on the doors and telling people hey, you have to if you haven't gotten this done, you got to get it done. We can do it with you right here. Or you can visit one of our many drop boxes that we put in businesses all around town. These are things that businesses host them. We try to make them as visible as possible within their establishments so that folks can see these and be like, hey, let me do that real quick. And then we pick those up every week. So just doing everything we possibly can to make sure that folks get registered to vote well enough ahead of time. Would just be that would probably be our reaction.
Sure.
specifically to 176. I mean,
Uh-huh.
again, there's some other slightly frustrating ones, such as like 406. That's another one that we'll probably be going through.
Yes.
That, I mean, we'll also address the problems with that legislation as well, just
Sure.
with our on the ground efforts, and just keeping our hardworking folks at it.
Work with what they give you, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think, that's all the questions I have. I just wanted to say thank you for coming with me. I think what you guys do is great, and I hope it doesn't pass, but if it does, I know you guys will do your best to prevent the repercussions of it as much as you can. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, so that was my interview with Carl Anderson regarding House Bill 176. So to close off my video, I'd like to talk about alternative policies regarding House Bill 176. So in all honesty, I think that the best alternative policy would be no policy. Same-day voter registration has been in Montana for a long time. It was introduced in 2005, and a 2014 consensus on the state regarding same-day voter registration showed that 60% of Montanans approve of it, meaning that is a bipartisan agreement that we should keep same-day voter registration. As of today, which is April 5th, the bill has passed and it will become law. So Montana will be losing same-day voter registration, which just means that groups like Montperk and people like Carl Anderson are more important than ever. And I would say the main takeaway that I would like people to get from this bill would be to work to educate themselves, to help others who need help, and to get out and vote, and to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. Thank you.